I'm going to tell you a story about the runes. The Norse runes, the elder Futhark of the Norse runes, are part of a machine that was put into a time capsule in the 11th century. The runes in the realms of Norse mythology are a creation of very wise people to preserve knowledge for us today that was hidden from the world by those who choose to dominate the world, beginning at the earliest of the empires before the Persians. The people that held that knowledge were driven as refugees from the Persians, from the area where Samaria and Iran are today. They migrated and ended up in Europe and Northern Europe. And some of them held that knowledge. And I'm going to tell you something. If anybody was going to tell you something like this and it was not true, if I was going to tell you this and it was not true, I would be the lowest kind of bad person. Because anyone who would strum to try to raise someone's hopes and tell them a story about themselves and the potentials of life and the possibilities of life that they were missing would be the worst kind of huckster, unless, of course, it's true. And what I'm telling you is true. I would not lie to you about this because this is important. I'm not asking anything from you. I don't want your money. I don't want your following. I don't want your friendship. However, that would be pretty nice. I have everything that I could possibly want because I learned the runes. My life was a mess until I figured out how the runes work. I'm posting a series of videos on YouTube to tell you how to use the runes in the realms of Norse mythology the way that they were intended, because I figured out the clues in Snorri Sturluson's time capsule and I put them together. And now there's evidence that you just cannot deny that everything in Norse mythology is part of a device that'll teach you everything about being a human being. It don't tell you what to do. That's always going to be up to me or you or anyone to determine what they're going to do. We always have choice. Even a slave has choice. Each and every one of us is in the throes of the moral imperative in everything that we do. But we have parts to our life. We have a body and a moral code and social interactions and our own thoughts. We have our ancestry individually that brought each and every one of us here. And all of our children come through the ancestry that we represent to them. We all die, but that might not be it. We all have a universe of things that we do not know, that we are driven into through social interactions when we come to a circumstance where we need to learn something in order to satisfy our position in that social circle. We have to learn something, and that's what brings us to learning, is social interaction and nothing else. You can't learn virtually and you can't learn remotely. You have to learn by interacting with people and finding out what it is that you need to know. And the runes will show you how all of that works. And we all have an outcome to our actions, each and every action. And either it's a jumble of unintended consequences that is a juggernaut that eats up all of our time and money, or it's a paradise of plans well made with an understanding of how things work and everything is going your way. And that's the outcome of your actions. Well, with the exception of not quite being the best band that I think I could be in, my life is working magnificently because I understand the principles I'm telling you about. I didn't before, and my life was a mess. I used to be a criminal. Well, I used to be a criminal. I used to be a social degenerate. I didn't fit in anywhere except in an underworld where unintended consequences were the rule of the day, and people were pretty vicious. Well, I'm not that way anymore. Everything that I want to be the person that I need to be is available to me because I understand how everything works. I do that because I understand how the runes work, because that's what they're intended to. And it's complete. Now let's get down to the nitty-gritty. It says in the lore that the runes were given to us by Odin, who is God. Every different ethnic and cultural group has a different name for God. But if it's God we're talking about, then it's all the same thing. It has to be. And the reason that it's not a problem is because I finally found the actual message from God. There's a lot of interpretations that a lot of people have given over the years, and if those interpretations resulted with them being in charge, then I can guarantee it was not a good interpretation. Because being in charge is probably the only sin. Being in dominance over someone else is probably the only crime. And every other crime is some sort of a subset of domination. The runes don't teach you how to dominate anyone but you. The runes teach you how to put your life in order, your physical life in order, your emotional life in order, and your spiritual relativity to everyone else in order, so that you can reach the goal that is set for all of us, and that is to be the person that you know you're supposed to be. I'm working on being the person that I know I'm supposed to be, and I'm in a position where I'm actually getting that done, which is not common. It's not common at all. So, continue to watch these videos. I'll show you the device. It's simple. It's kind of a grid structure with the runes and the realms explained. The realms are all the parts of us. The runes are all the parts of us. But I don't explain them. They explain themselves. That's the beauty of the rune thing, of this gift from God. It doesn't tell you what to do. It tells you how everything works. Now, if there was going to be a message from God, what would it be if it was actually God? Why, if I was God and I made a creation and I wanted it to work correctly, I would tell everybody how everything worked, so they wouldn't stumble about trying to get things done, hurting themselves and each other, and being in pain and suffering all the time. I'm not saying the struggle's going to go away. There's always going to be a struggle, but the struggle, for me, is with me. My struggle is not getting high and drunk and wasting time and chasing people around for fun that I shouldn't be having, which makes no sense now, but it did then, when I felt like an outcast because I didn't understand how the world worked. I cast off my parents' religion because I didn't believe it. I'm telling you why I didn't believe it, because they didn't believe it. Oh, they talked a fine tale. My grandmother was the religious boot that kicked us all into church, but she was not a good person. She was a manipulative and vile little person. And that's where my religion came from. She didn't believe it. My parents didn't believe it, but why they went through the steps, because in our hearts we do believe. Everybody knows there's a God, but they might even call themselves atheists because they think God is solely represented by the nonsense that's taught in churches. I'm not going to say that it's bad. People go to church because they're acknowledging that they know there is a higher communication. We're all in this together. We're all part of the same thing, but we're an individual part. And that individual part has got to go through the steps to become the person that he or she is supposed to be. And the runes will teach you how all of that works, so that you can have not only a fighting chance of being the person that you're supposed to be, but all the information that you need to make it happen. Everything makes sense. You'll know why everything is the way it is. And let me tell you something. The world is not broken. The world is perfect. Everything works exactly the way it's supposed to be. And there's a lot of messes going on out there that are just going to evaporate from your life when you figure out why they're there, and all you have to do is not participate in the mess. You'll be fine. Keep watching the videos. You don't have to believe me, but do the research into each and everything that I show you to find out if I'm telling the truth. I'm guaranteeing you I am telling the truth. There's nothing about lying to you that appeals to me. There's nothing that you have that I want. I've got everything. I got to tell you something. I'm rich. I have everything. I don't have an abundance of money. I don't have more money than I need, but I have all the money I need. I don't have more tools than I need to do what I need to do, but I have the tools that I need to do what I want to do. Do you understand what I'm saying? The world has everything that each of us needs. Even the poorest of poor in the worst place on earth can change their lot in life by understanding how everything works. I love you. I love me. Go ahead and watch my videos. Call me if you want. I'm easy to find. Thank you. Goodbye.